What's going on, guys? This is Chastity here, and today I'm bringing you week 4 of the PPL VGC, first ever season, and this week we are facing I Am Destroyer. I think that's how I'm going to pronounce it. So some we haven't played before, but they've been a real help in the server, doing some like graphics for people, blenders if you know what that is. So really make sure you go check them out. They're a pretty cool human and definitely on the more high quality end of content than my nonsense, so make sure you go check them out. You can see the team matchup below me. We are currently 3-0 after last week's shenanigans against Gert, so that's really nice. This one we will not be playing on stream because time zones. I'm not getting up at 6 to play every Monday, that's just insane. And yeah, we'll just be playing this one during the week as per normal. The big things to note about this matchup is the sand core is really scary for my team. Obviously Volcarona does not like taking a rock slide as the main thing that can redirect from other mons, and an iron head just annihilates my poor Floette. And they can also set speed with Tailwind on the Whimsicott. Their only Trick Room setter, I think Whimsicott actually does get Trick Room, but their only other Trick Room setter is the Trevenant, so if they are going for a Trick Room mode, I'd expect to see like Trevenant and Crabominable or Trevenant and Araquanid. If we don't see Trevenant, then I'm not really expecting those other mons to show, just because outside of Trick Room, they take a lot of damage from a lot of stuff. So I'm expecting kind of the sand mode. Probably Mega Clefable doesn't have, it can do things, but also struggles against some mons, like the Raichu kind of does really well into it. It does okay into like Gallade, for example, so yeah, I don't know if we'll see Mega Clefable here. And then we have the, is this even the right Gallade? Yeah, it is. And then we have the yeah, Mega Medicham I think is going to show up as well. That thing's pretty spooky, and they can also go a fast mode with like Hisuian Typhlosion, Whimsicott lead, and then just Tailwind Eruption off rip. I don't have a great switch into Eruption. It's kind of Gyarados, maybe Appleton. Dragapult does okay, but obviously Dragapult doesn't want to take a Shadow Ball, so mon we have here is not the first one on the team, that's the last one on the team, and that is Gallade. It's dual Stab plus Shadow Claw goes pretty hard into this team. Stab obviously taking care of the Excadrill, Tyranitar, the Rotom, and the Crabominable, and then Shadow Claw hits the Hisuian Typhlosion, the Mega Medicham. Sorry if you can hear my dog doing zoomies, the Trevenant. And then Triple Axle actually does really well rounding out the coverage, hitting the Whimsicott, Clefable, Trevenant as well. So we have really good coverage in everything basically except the Araquanid with this mon. And we are running min speed Trick Room here, so they do have quite a few things that could outslow us. But if they decide to just go fast, so we see like Whimsicott, we see the Sand Core, you see the Hisuian Typhlosion, Mega Medicham, etc., then we're probably just going to go, we could go into this thing and just fire off a Trick Room turn 1, reverse that speed order if they try and get like Tailwind up, for example, and go from there. We are Mental Herb, so that if the Whimsicott tries to Prankster Encore us into Trick Room, we'll cure the Prankster, and then we can Triple Axle the following turn, and if it is Sash, we'll KO through Sash with the Triple Axle. So that's the idea behind Gallade. The bulk investment, I think, was to take 2 hits from something. It was like a high horsepower into a knockoff from Drill T-Tar or something like that. I played this a little while ago, so I can't remember, and then the attack investment just allows us to destroy basically everything. Then we have our Volcarona here and Dresser. We're kind of just a bulky Tailwind set to try and match Tailwinds and potentially allow us to outspeed. We've got Heatwave Bug Buzz because Heatwave goes pretty hard into this team. The only resists being that Hisuian Typhlosion, which luckily is not Flash Fire, and the Tyranitar. Tyranitar obviously gets hit super effectively by Bug Buzz. Because it is a T-Tar, it's not taking a huge amount, but Heat Wave could be really good as a pretty safe click into things. We have Rage Powder to try and keep mons safe, so things that might be threatened by the Excadrill, like our own Excadrill, which we're bringing this week, we can Rage Powder away the high horsepower and then fire back with our own high horsepower, and then Tailwind just to try and even up these speeds. And then we've got enough speed, I think that's to outspeed Excadrill, so if we do get Tailwind up and they don't have Tailwind up, we will outspeed them in sand, if that makes sense, and then just the rest into bulk to try and make this thing live as many hits as possible. And we are the Charty Berry this week to try and take those rock slides, which are almost certainly coming my way a little bit better. Then we are bringing Excadrill. This is going to be the only Mega we bring this week. We are kind of focusing the team around it a little bit. We're running a really bulky set here. The idea is after we Mega, we can take a high horsepower from a non-boosted Excadrill on their side. And then we'll outspeed if we Mega and Sand isn't up, and if Sand is up, then we should, threaten the speed tie at least, but hopefully we can redirect away with the Volcarona, fire off high horsepowers and Iron Heads into that Sand core that does really well and handles the Whimsicott and the Clefable as well. We then have Rock Slide just to hit the if we want a little bit of spread damage, and it hits like the Rotom a tiny bit harder than Iron Head, I think, and mostly the Araquanid, because the Araquanid actually walls our dual stab there, and obviously if we do Mega we can hit through Protect, so if Sand goes down and we have Tailwind up we can Mega and then really put on some pressure with this thing. And I think the Spadef allows us to live like a Flamethrower from Modest, Mega Clefable as well, and then we can just Iron Head it back. Then we do have one of our dedicated leads for the week in the Raichu. So the pair I've got to lead with is actually Raichu Gyarados. You won't see the Gyarados just yet, but the synergy between them is that if they do lead something with electric coverage, like a Thunder Punch Mega Medicham, this will draw in the electric moves of the Lightning Rod. We are speedy enough to outspeed said Medicham with assuming no Tailwind or anything is up, we unfortunately can't outspeed the Whimsicott. We've got Fake Out to try and just put on that offensive pressure turn 1. We've got Feint to try and first of all get around Encore from the Whimsicott and also break Protect. So if I'm predicting like a double Protect turn 1, we can just Fake Out, we can Feint into the protecting slot. And in particular, if they lead the Sand Core and we've got this thing plus Gyarados, I'm threatening an Oko into probably either slot, but most likely the Excadrill, and so we can Feint and Waterfall into the Excadrill, just take it out turn 1, and then neuter their Sand and hopefully use it against them with our own Mega. Oops. And then we've got Volt Tackle as just the best offensive stab we have. It is our best move to hit the Araquanid on this team, basically. We are Magnet boosted as well and max attack, so it will do quite a lot of damage to everything. And then the Encore is there to try and catch like potentially a Whimsicott going for Tailwind turn 1, also means we can't be locked into it ourselves, so we can Encore the Whimsicott if it goes for Tailwind and kind of neuter that slot, and then we can just focus down the other slot with like Feint, Volt Tackle, and whatever else you want to go for. We also have the Dragapult here. We are running a Choice Scarf Dragapult with Phantom Force, Dragon Darts, Breaking Swipe, and Pounce. This is probably a set I'm not going to bring, but I figured if I am getting really thrown by something and I need something to outspeed, this Mon does outspeed their entire team, including Scarfers inside of Tailwind. So basically, unless it's like Scarf Hisuian Typhlosion with Tailwind up, or Sandrush Excadrill with Tailwind up, will be the fastest thing. So like we'll outspeed Excadrill in Sand, we'll outspeed Mega Medicham in Tailwind. And we can just go for like Breaking Swipes to lower their offensive pressure if we want, or Dragon Darts to try and get a kill, and Phantom Force into something like if it's Last Mon Medicham, or if we know we can threaten that slot, it's Medicham and Hisuian Typhlosion, for example, left in the back, we can target down a slot and basically guarantee a KO, and Pounce is just there to try and potentially put the speed order back in our favor. It hits the T-Tar for some damage, it's not great damage. You can see we're very, very bulk invested, and that's to take a Shadow Ball from the Hisuian Typhlosion if we have to, because we're not really doing a ton of damage with our moves anyway. It's more support moves, and then the Phantom Force is strong enough that it kills the only Ghost weak things, so we're just kind of going for speedy support here with the Dragapult. And the last Mon is our other dedicated lead, so the plan is kind of to lead with this thing plus the Raichu, and then have Excadrill and Volcarona in the back. This means if they lead the Sand Core, we get Intimidate off rip, and we are Citrus Berry on this thing, so we'll tank a couple of Rock Slides from like the Tyranitar and the Excadrill, can the Citrus Berry back up to good health, kill one of them with Waterfall. We've got Temper Flare just to hit the Whimsicott a little bit harder. I'm running Taunt here in case they do bring like Trevenant and Crabominal, or Trevenant and Araquanid as a Trick Room mode. We can just Taunt the Trick Room setter and hope they're not Mirror, hope they're not Mental Herb, hope they don't see this coming. Protect just to kind of keep ourselves safe. And yeah, the speed on this thing I think is enough for something Scarfed in Tailwind or something like that. I actually can't remember what the speed was for. The bulk was definitely enough to take less than half from a Rock Slide from the Tyranitar, so if we Fake Out one slot, take a Rock Slide from Max Attack Adamant T-Tar, we'll stay just above half, and then the Sand will bring us below half, and give us Citrus Berry, and similarly if anything else hits us harder, we'll get the Citrus Berry and the Rock Slide won't be able to knock us out, and we should be able to do a lot with Waterfall. So yeah, that's going to be the team. The dedicated 4 are pretty set, I think, for at least the first 2 games, and then if the first game goes really badly, I might rethink it, but if we win the first one, then I'll probably just run it back with the same thing, because I'm not super confident in either going hard Trick Room mode or the Dragapult set, so we'll just play it from there. But yeah, we'll just get into the battle.
What's going on, guys? This is Trusty here, and this is me dubbing my own battle, because when I tried to record this, you might be able to hear some of the audio in the background. My mic was just really not very loud, so you can't hear any of my commentary at all. So we do see what I'm Destroyer decided to bring. So there is no Mega Clefable, which is probably good. We do see no Trevenant either, so there's no Trick Room. So this is looks like a very fast mode. He could just lead with the Sand mode, or he could lead with Whimsicott Typhlosion, I think are the most likely. Araquanid looks like it could just be a wide guard option to try and handle the Dazzling Gleams, or also to handle the Excadrill with Earthquake, etc. And just generally wall Excadrill stabs. So I'm going to go with my dedicated lead, the Raichu and the Gyarados. See what they decide to go for. If they go Sand mode, we can fake out or feint the Excadrill and Waterfall, and if they go the fast Tailwind mode, we can on-call Whimsicott into Tailwind turn 1, take an Eruption, and then blow back the Typhlosion. And if they Sunny Day Eruption, it gives us the most options. I'm just walking through my plays because you're not going to hear the live commentary when I'm taking notes and stuff, so I have more time to yap. So good luck, have fun to the giddy old man. I am Destroyer. Loving the various customizations people put in. So we do see the Whimsicott and Typhlosion lead. So like I said, my play here is always to on-call the Whimsicott. They do Frisk us. Frisk is obviously very useful. That Intimidate is not going to matter at all. So my plan here is to on-call the Whimsicott. That means that we can't be on-call the following turn, but also means if they do go for Tailwind, then that slot's basically useless. And we can afford to then protect and stall out Tailwind without risk being on-called into it. And then we're just going to Waterfall the Typhlosion slot, and that should KO unless they go for Sunny Day or unless it's Sash. My expectation is that this thing would be Scarfed. Looking at the team, I'm expecting Excadrill to be Sashed and this thing to be Scarfed in order. Excadrill to be either Sash or Soft Sand or Shulkerberry, basically. We do see the Whimsicott's just going to go for Protect here. So okay, this could just be Scarfed Eruption, but no, it's also Protect on this thing. So it might be Charcoal, or the Sash could be on this, and it could be a different item on the Excadrill. So we are just going to go for Waterfall here, and it bounces off. So because we know they're not Scarfed, I am just going to throw off a Volt Tackle here, I think, into the Hisuian Typhlosion, because it means that they have to go for Tailwind, and I'm expecting them to just go for Tailwind. But I also don't know if they're going to want to try to switch out, and if they switch into something like the Araquanid to take the Waterfall, then we'll get a big hit off with the Volt Tackle. So I decided to just double, and also this covers for if they are Scarfed and they take out my, and they don't take out one of my mons, then I do still end up killing this thing after the Scarf gets used. As we see, they try to Encore my Raichu into Encore, which actually doesn't work. So that's an interaction that they weren't aware of, that you can't Encore a mon into Encore. So we get away with one there, bring them down super duper low, which means this Eruption is actually going to do nothing. As you see, it just bounces off both mons, and we're able to finish off here with a Waterfall. It potentially could have been nice to Temper Flare into the Whimsicott there, but that crit did not matter at all. That Waterfall was an Oko. So it could have been nice to potentially Temper Flare there into the Whimsicott, but it actually doesn't get the double power from going into Protect, which I didn't know until a little while ago. So then we see they do bring out the Tyranitar, so I'm like, okay, well this is definitely Tailwind Rock Slide, right? This Tyranitar does not want to be faced with a Gyarados and a Raichu, and I'm thinking that Excadrill is looking like a pretty safe switch in here because there's no reason for them to go for a ground move, and I can then have my speed from Sand Rush and I'll outspeed the
both things on their side. So I'm just going to protect here with the Gyarados. The reason being, if they Tailwind with the Whimsicott, they potentially want to on-call me the following turn, and that baits them to not go into my Excadrill at all, and just keeps my Gyarados safe for a turn. And also, I know they, like, even if they are Sash on Whimsicott here, the Sand's going to break the Sash, so they're actually not going to be able to outspeed my Excadrill the following turn. We see they actually don't Tailwind. The Tyranitar reveals to be Scarfed there because they outsped their Whimsicott. It's either Scarfed T-Tar or an extraordinarily slow Whimsicott, but I don't think that's the case. And they try to double into Gyarados with Moonblast, and we catch that on the Protect, and everything takes Sand Chip. So here we do now outspeed the Tyranitar with our Sand Rush Excadrill, unless they go for Tailwind, but even if they go for Tailwind, because we know they're Scarfed and they're just threatening Rock Slide, I am going to not Mega here and just attack, because there's a fair chance that they have their own Excadrill in the back, and I want to keep that my Sand Rush up, so I can at least speed tie them in Sand if they don't get Tailwind up. I'd be very surprised if this Whimsicott doesn't have Tailwind. I am just going to Iron Head here. I think I actually go into the Whimsicott, and then I think I switch into Volcarona. The reason is I either switch into Volcarona or I switch into Raichu. Looks like I'm switching into Raichu actually. No, I do decide to go into Volcarona, which is crazy to switch it in on a potential Rock Slide. But I think I actually can't remember why I made that play. I think I was like, I don't actually know if I need Volcarona anymore. So and I think I forgot that I wouldn't outspeed after they Tailwinded. So I think I made a little bit of a misplay there. But we get super lucky and we dodge the Rock Slide on the Volcarona anyway, which means, but then they flinch my Excadrill, so we aren't able to Iron Head into the Tyranitar slot, which is super annoying, but it is what it is. So here I am just going to finish off the Excadrill, and I'm going to go for Tailwind. I think because I thought Iron Head would kill the Rock Slide, would proc the Charty Berry, and then I would kill the Tyranitar, and then if they bring an Excadrill in the back, then it's threatened by, like, it can't go for Rock Slide to KO the Volcarona, I can Rage Powder, etc. So we take that Rock Slide there. It does still do a lot of damage to my Volcarona, but as long as we don't flinch on Excadrill here, do you see Whimsicott actually outspeeds us as well, which I guess is to be expected. They're on a Tailwind, but that does nothing into Excadrill, really minimal damage. Big special attack drop isn't going to matter. And then we do fire off the Iron Head and take out the Whimsicott. Reason being, I'm not super worried about Tyranitar Scarf T-Tar at the moment. It's locked into Rock Slide. We have an Excadrill out, and we have Fake Out and Intimidate in the back, so I just don't think it can beat what I have left. And they are going to go into, we are going to see what they go into here, and it is the Excadrill, which is what I expected with the Tyranitar out. They're probably going to bring the Sand mode. So here I think I have a pretty safe endgame. I think I don't know why I'm thinking Protect. I'm going to be honest, I played all of this really badly. I was really not in a good headspace. I think I went on tilt the night before on ladder, and then got myself really tied up in knots about how to play this game. So I think I ended up deciding just to attack into the T-Tar and High Horsepower. High Horsepower into the Excadrill, and I just Rage Powder, because their Excadrill should be the fastest thing. What do I decide to do here? I think I end up attacking into T-Tar and Rage Powder, I think is what I end up doing, which I think is the correct play. Man, my commentary sucks when I aren't doing it live. But basically this means that when their Excadrill outspeeds, if they go for Rock Slide, then they're not touching my Excadrill for really any damage, and if they do what this is, which is High Horsepower, we get to redirect that away from our Excadrill, allowing us to get another big hit off. We actually also get the Flame Body, which is pretty clutch. Shows that this thing isn't Lumberry. That means we should actually be able to tank a hit from it pretty easily. We do see that Tyranitar is actually able to live that, so I think we're just not that attack invested, and without the Mega we're not able to KO. So it's important to know for later that we need to Mega up in order to be able to KO the Tyranitar from full. But now it's 3v2. We've got 2 turns of Tailwind, they only have 1, and we've got Fake Out active. So here I can just Fake Out their Excadrill and then Iron Head into the other slot and claim a KO that way. And then Sandstorm will go down,
and we'll still have Tailwind. So this is now a locked up game. We know that the Tyranitar can't protect, and even if the Excadrill protects here, it's just dead on the following turn, and we'll Mega Up, we'll outspeed, and we'll be able to hit through Protect. So there's nothing they can do at this point. The Rock Slide dodge was pretty lucky for us, and the flinch sort of inconsequential on the other side. These end up working pretty well in our favor, being able to get up our own Tailwind, and then yeah, being able to use their sand against them with our own Excadrill. So like I said, we're going to fake out. Do you see that they outspeed us? I expect they just max Jolly to risk the speed tie, because they've outsped us on every turn so far. So that's good to know, and we're able to take out the Tyranitar. And then we're going to see the sand goes down, and they are hurt by burn, and I believe their Tailwind also expires. So this is now just game. I'm going to Mega Evolve and High Horsepower. And I think I'm going to go for Encore here because I don't want to reveal Feint. And if I Encore them into High Horsepower, then I can just go into Gyarados in the back even if I miss. This kind of covers for, it helps preserve as much information as possible so I don't reveal Feint for the next game. But also if I lock them into High Horsepower, then they can't touch Gyarados, and I can eventually just smack him with a Waterfall. So we are going to get off the Encore here, me being careful not to reveal any other moves. There's no point clicking Volt Tackle to reveal that either. They already know we have Encore, and then we do land the High Horsepower, so it's all irrelevant anyway. And Excadrill is going to go down, and that's going to be a clean 3-0 victory against I Am Destroyer. You see why I struggled to pronounce his name. It's a fun name. So we're able to take that first one, like I said, 3-0. So now I'm thinking about how we're going to pivot, and if we do pivot. So we're getting back into it straight away. I think there's a chance they do something different off the lead, so definitely not going to try and Encore into my Raichu on lead again. But I think this is when I'm like, if they go the sand lead, that's when I can reveal the Feint Tech into the Excadrill and just get a KO that way. I think that went pretty well, and I don't necessarily want to change the game plan too much. Obviously Choice Scarf, Dragapult I think is nice to keep in the back as a surprise into, like, if they have Sand up or if they have Tailwind up. Say they have like Tailwind up with Mega Medicham, and then we go into Scarf Pult and just fire off like Breaking Swipes, and then suddenly they're not getting KOs and shit. Could be kind of nice. So I am just going to go with the same plan again and try and leave the potential Trick Room mode and the Scarf mode as a surprise for potential Game 3, because here I think I can probably catch out something. Hopefully I can catch, with the Feint Tech, catch a Protect on turn 1 and just blow something up. If they do the same leads again, then I make the same play again. Like, I think that game plan is pretty solid, and we'll just see what they try to adjust into us if they bring the Araquanid. If they do bring the Araquanid, then Raichu becomes really important, because it's our best source of damage into it, especially if it has a wide guard. We can't touch it with Rock Slide from the Excadrill. It resists Heat Wave from Volcarona. It resists both of Gyarados' attacking moves, so it's really just Raichu left. So yeah, we're going to get into the second game with I Am Destroyer, and we see that he decides to just fully lead Sand mode, and I'm like, this is it. This is when we go for Feint, because you should fear the Fake Out into Excadrill and then just Waterfall. And even if you don't fear that, you shouldn't be able to KO me with 2 Rock Slides. And so Feint is going to break a Sash, and we're going to be able to get a Waterfall off into Excadrill anyway. But I'm fully expecting to protect, and they end up not protecting. So we get we break the Sash, that's fine. We're going to see that the Excadrill goes for Rock Slide. We get a dodge on the Raichu, which is nice. And we're able to tank that because they're both intimidated. We're actually going to take like basically nothing from these 2 hits. They go for another Rock Slide. Obviously that one does a fair bit more, but you see Raichu would have lived both anyway, as does the Gyarados. We proc our Citrus Berry, and I'm like, fantastic. Now we get Waterfall into the Excadrill, and we don't. And that sucks. And honestly, that flinch kind of sends me into a spiral here. So I am trying to think about how I can pivot around this, and I'm like, they're probably just going to click double Rock Slide again. They know that 1 isn't going to be enough to kill this Gyarados. They need to land both. And if they don't land both, then Gyarados just gets to kill one of their mons. So I'm like, they're going to double Rock Slide, and and I should protect the Gyarados and switch Raichu into Excadrill, because that means I still have Fake Out pressure for later. And here I'm thinking I've clicked Protect and I've actually clicked Waterfall, so I'm like, yeah, I can just Protect and then switch into Excadrill, and then I can protect the Excadrill and Waterfall the following turn because we'll live one. So I switch out the Raichu and I'm like, yeah, and it's fine because I protected Gyarados, so I'm thinking through that sequence of plays, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't click Protect, I clicked Waterfall, basically hoping that they missed. Because if they don't miss, then this Gyarados just dies. And even if I could have switched it out again the following turn, because then I was threatening with my Excadrill into their Excadrill, gotten a second Intimidate, etc. So that's no bueno, but now they're both intimidated. We know that we're going to outspeed the Tyranitar, and it is pretty heavily threatened. So here I'm going to go into Raichu, and I'm like, okay, well, you have to switch out your something. I can threaten with Fake Out into either Mon, and I'm probably going to Fake Out the Excadrill, and then I can just High Horsepower the other slot. And again, I'm massively on tilt. What I should do here is Mega and High Horsepower, because we saw that we actually don't kill the Tyranitar, and we have a lot of defense investment, so we actually live a High Horsepower after we Mega from their Excadrill as well, especially after it's intimidated. So, and if I Mega, I get more guaranteed damage off into whatever's in the back. As you see, they're going to switch out the Excadrill into the Whimsicott, which is fine. It'll take a Fake Out, it'll take some chip damage, and they actually pull a double switch and reveal they've brought the Medicham this time. So we're going to get Fake Out off into Whims, and that does a little bit, and we're going to High Horsepower into Medicham. That does so much, and if we had Mega'd there, I think that actually just kills after the Sand Chip here. So yeah, that's another misplay where I could have gotten a potential KO there, and preserved things better in the back as well. So we are in an okay spot. Losing Gyarados really early was not great, because an Intimidate here would have been really, really useful. But I can afford to just switch out and preserve Fake Out for later. I don't know why I guess Feint doesn't do enough into Medicham here. I don't know what I click actually. I can't remember. Yeah, I just Volt Tackle into Medicham, which I don't think is a fantastic play. Because I'm risking, I think they have to Tailwind, but I am risking the Encore into Raichu that just clicked Fake Out. But I'm going to switch the Excadrill out into Volcarona. Volcarona's not super threatened here. There's no way they could Rock Slide with Medicham, even if they did bring it. I think more likely is that they're going to try and CC into the Volcarona slot. And so here, Whimsicott goes for Tailwind. I potentially could have just Encored the Whimsicott, but if it went for Encore, yada yada yada, bad times. We do see Close Combat still does so much, even though it's resisted, because it's a mega freaking Medicham. And Volt Tackle is the most overkill move to ever overkill here. It needs to do 14%, and that was a -1 Medicham that probably would have OHKO'd. We take our little bit of chip, and then everything's going to take Sand Chip, yada yada yada. But now we're not in a great spot because they have Tailwind up. They can just go Excadrill, Moonblast, Rock Slide. Like Rock Slide will KO, or they can go Tyranitar. Actually, Moonblast, Rock Slide I think would also be fine. Just yeah, they're super unthreatened. They're not intimidated. I didn't preserve my Gyarados. I haven't preserved Fake Out for an important turn. Yeah, it's just going to be the Excadrill. With Tailwind and Sand, it's going to outspeed everything on my team by so much. And I don't think there's any way for me to get Tailwind up with my own Volcarona here. And there's no real reason to try and switch out. I think I could switch Raichu here. I think my play probably is to try and switch out the Raichu and just sack the Volcarona. But can't remember what I end up going for. Do I just click Heat Wave? I mean, Heat Wave would probably do a lot to both. So, yeah, I kind of just hope they miss. They do not miss. They land on both, and that's going to be enough to just pick up the double KO without the Intimidate. So, I don't really know what I was thinking with that play. Because, yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know, to be honest. Whimsicott goes for Moonblast, nothing happens. Sandstorm goes down here, but they still have Tailwind up, so they're still just going to outspeed. And I can't protect in front of this Whimsicott because we know it has Encore. So even the out of getting a million protects in a row doesn't help me here, and they have 2 turns of Tailwind anyway. So I think I'm just going to Mega and High Horsepower into the Excadrill slot is my best play. But they have no reason not to just attack. I have to hope they miss, basically, here. I actually don't know. No, I think we only just live a High Horsepower from Jolly. No, I think we live from Adamant Excadrill with our defense investment. So we're not... I mean, we are out of it, because Tyranitar definitely outspeeds and definitely has something to hit us, even if it's just like knockoff. It'll do enough at this point. But we do see the Moonblast count from the Whimsicott, which will do a little bit of chip, but that chip, you know, we're down at like 60%. Even with our bulk investment, there's no way we're living a High Horsepower from Excadrill. So that's unfortunate. We lose game 2. If we hadn't flinched, so with 2 Rock Slides, it's basically a 50-50. Odds are slightly in our favor if of them missing one and not getting the flinch, basically. And if they don't flinch Gyarados there, we just kill Excadrill. And then we're in a much better spot. We can preserve the Gyarados for later, but we also did misplay a lot in the following turns. So we're going to run it back here. But I'm a bit concerned, like if they do something similar, we're basically playing from behind on the speed front constantly. Even if we go with Volcarona, we're too threatened to get Tailwind up. Like double Rock Slide just kills, even if we Intimidate. So I'm trying to think what is a better option on lead. And they're clearly not too worried about me clicking Fake Out because they can Encore with the Whimsicott. So I'm like, okay, so what's my better option here? And I decide to just try and pull off Trick Room. If I lead Fake Out plus Gallade, I'm hoping they'll try and Encore the Gallade and we'll have the Mental Herb and everything will be fine. But I'm like, alright, well, they're clearly just going to outspeed us. If we get Trick Room up rather than try and get Tailwind up, and we preserve Intimidate in the back, we can intimidate their offensive threats. I don't think they're going to bring the Hisuian Typhlosion this time. If they bring the same 4 they brought last time, and we get Trick Room up, then we're in a really, really strong spot, because we then threaten with like Gallade, Triple Axle into Whimsicott, Psycho Cut into the... I don't actually know if we have Psycho Cut. I think we have Shadow Claw and Sacred Sword. So Shadow Claw into Medicham and Typhlosion, Sacred Sword into the other 2. Like we have pretty good coverage here for everything except Araquanid. And we have the Raichu on lead as well to hopefully sort out the Araquanid. So, and they haven't been keen to bring it. They might try and bring it game 3, but I do think we have a reasonable chance here of getting up Trick Room and going from there. So we're going to see if they do Sand lead again, then I'm just going to Fake Out Drill and Trick Room. But instead we do see the Araquanid lead, which is probably the one thing I didn't want to see, because it's the only thing that's going to be slower than Gallade in Trick Room. So here I was like, are they going to Tailwind? Are they going to Trick Room? And I was like, even if they Tailwind, I don't know that... I think I was trying to run calcs on the side. And I don't know that Araquanid can be faster than Raichu if it's even under Tailwind, because it's such a slow mon. So I'm like, I think they're more likely to just like double into Gallade here. But no, they do reveal Tailwind, and it is the fastest bug. I didn't have time to do my speed tier calcs there, but they were fast enough to outspeed max speed Raichu. So if I had gone for Fake Out Trick Room like the plan was, we would be in such a good spot, but I kind of got baited by the slow bug there threatening me, but we are able to KO Whimsicott with Triple Axle. Even if we just faked out the Araquanid and then Triple Axle, we could have been in an okay spot, because we weren't threatened by the Encore either. So I think here I go into Gyarados to get my Intimidate down. We should basically wall Araquanid, even though it basically walls us, but with an Intimidate, we should be pretty okay against that thing, and they're going to bring out the Excadrill. So I'm like, okay, we need to damage down this Excadrill. The Intimidate's really, really nice. I can probably just Waterfall and like Sacred Sword double it. I actually forget what I do here as well. Why would I Protect? I don't know why I'm hovering Protect here. I don't think Protect does much for us. I don't know why I click Protect. I think I'm hoping that they think they have to double into Gyarados for some reason, even though Araquanid can't really do much to it, and then I can get Trick Room up. So if I Protect and Trick Room, we're like, okay. If it's Rock Slide, I think I'm hoping I live a Liquidation from Araquanid on Gallade here, because they're probably going to go for Rock Slide. But they just iron the Gallade, which means I could have just fired off an attack with Gyarados. Yeah, I protect and they just double into the other slot, which is unfortunate. And I don't know if you can hear in the backing there, but I say, damn, that's going to be GG. Because I actually just don't think there's a way for me to come back from this. Like, even an Intimidated Araquanid just kills everything I have. And the only one I have that can live a hit from it is Gyarados, which can't do shit back. So I'm just going to hope that they double into Excadrill for some reason here, and then I can kill their Excadrill with Waterfall, and then I think we're maybe down to the last turn of Tailwind, and I can double protect, I think is my only play. So yeah, it's unfortunate. We're in an unfortunate spot. They are going to Rock Slide here, which is a good play. Liquidation probably just destroys my Excadrill on any day, and we do block it, so yay, get the protect off, and we don't flinch this time. We get Waterfall off, but we do find out that it is sashed Excadrill. So yeah, again, if we hadn't flinched in the last game, we would have been in a really, really fantastic spot, but it be what it do be. And so yeah, there I'm just checking Tailwind turns to try and work out my players. I think I work out that the only play I have is to double protect with Excadrill. If I can get the double protect off, then I can Mega up and actually be okay. And I just have to try and get damage into the Araquanid, and I can click Rock Slide the following turn. And I think I decide Waterfall does more damage, might as well. And I have to just click Protect. I'm going to Mega Evolve here, which I think is probably not the correct play. I think I probably need to not Mega, but if I'm like, oh, if they Liquidation into Gyarados and then they high horsepower, I might live if we Mega. I don't really know what I'm trying to do. I think not Megaing is correct because then it preserves speed in the sand, but yeah, I'm going to go for the double protect and it doesn't pop off, which is unfortunate, and they're actually just going to double into this slot with high horsepower and liquidation, which is the correct play. If we'd got the double protect off, then we had a chance, but it's only a 30% chance, so it's kind of like hitting a Fisher. We were not in a great spot there. Gyarados is great. Gyarados is a really, really good mon, especially in this matchup, but it just did 25% to an Araquanid, so it's a 4-hit KO on Arac, and I just don't think we can clean this one up. So I decided I might as well KO the Excadrill to get my differential down, and then I can force in whatever's in the back, probably Tyranitar, but it could be the Medicham as well. They go for Rock Slide, we get our Citrus Berry. It's still going to take another turn to kill us, and we get flinched again, just to put salt in the wound. And you see Liquidation is going to be a 2-shot after the next turn as well. So we're just going to Waterfall into the Excadrill again, just trying to bring down differential, but that flinch basically means we don't get differential. It happens. This is why Rock Slide spam is just good. We see we're able to live because Gyarados is, like I said, really, really good in this matchup. And we are able to get the Waterfall off to finally finish off that Excadrill, but we're going to just get picked off by Araquanid here. So the offensive Araquanid really, really threw me. If I'd clicked Trick Room turn 1 as they Tailwinded, we would have had a fantastic time, but such is life. You know, it's easy to say in hindsight, but I think in the time, I was feeling threatened by, I don't want to set up Trick Room and then have them have a bulky Araquanid that then just beats me in Trick Room that I set up. So that was a bit tough. I think I really got thrown after I didn't see the Protect get broken by Feint, and then we got flinched by the Rock Slide. I don't think it potentially wouldn't have changed much if I had gone for Fake Out. Fake Out Waterfall obviously decreases the chance of flinching, but even then if we flinch on that turn, then we're just in a really bad spot against that lead. And I misplayed after the hacks, so obviously the hacks mattered. I'm just gonna pause that now. You're gonna have these super fun this in the background, but that's fine. Obviously the hacks mattered, but I also misplayed, and I'm Destroyer played really well around some of our threats there as well. So that's going to be our first loss of the season. Congrats to I'm Destroyer.
That Sandcore, I saw it in the draft and said it was really threatening, so they definitely deserved that win. And we'll be going on to week 5. We're still looking in a really good spot for playoffs at 3-1. If we can win next week, we are locked, and we are going to be playing Elfhouse, who is currently top of the table and 4-0 undefeated. So that's going to be a pretty tough one. So make sure you tune in next week for that, and I'll see you guys there.